Hi, welcome to ET Cases case series, and we have with us today NAIYYA SAGGI and MITESH. Both of them are co-founders of a very interesting company called as babyChakra. And NAIYYA SAGGI and MITESH come with a fantastic pedigree. And let's hear from them as to what made them getting into this business called as babyChakra, as well as this entire space of entrepreneurship, given their pedigree. Welcome to ET Cases, NAIYYA and also MITESH. Now, can you take us through your background, education background? Also, I think before this one, you were working for one of the finest consulting, maybe the dream destination for all the graduates in the world, and there's McKinsey. So what made, can you take us through your background?
Sure. So I did my undergrad in law from National Law School, Bangalore, which is where I sort of developed a passion for human rights,
right,
specifically health and education. When McKinsey came on campus, they basically talked about how they work with both for-profit as well as non-profit companies and with governments in actually scaling
right,
interventions, which are very sort of business-led, strategic, very thorough in the analysis, and that really appealed to me.
right.
I felt that I had the potential to make impact at a larger scale. So I joined McKinsey as a consultant, and I really learned a lot of problem-solving skills and analytics, how to really build and scale businesses. One of the projects I'm most passionate about is actually building out EMRI, which is the 108 ambulance service.
Very good.
So when I started working with them as part of the McKinsey team, they were in one state in India, and we helped them scale across 11 states. We worked very closely with the CEO of EMRI, Venkat, and he's been an inspiration in how he appeals to intrinsic motivation in people and teams to actually help them build out a product and a dream. So my interest in health and education continued. Went on to join Public Health Foundation of India, worked with the president to again build out the organization. Went on to HBS to my MBA. Again, did a lot of work in health and education there in terms of fantastic research opportunities. Wrote an HBS case. Went on the Fulbright, so I knew I was moving back to India. And when I was moving back, I always knew I would be an entrepreneur for some reason. I always had that in me. So when I was moving back, I took that last period of time just to think about the different businesses and ventures I could actually found. And something to do with mothers, which is an area.
So when this idea was born, was it while you were doing your MBA at Harvard Business School, or is it after coming back to India?
So it actually happened like the babyChakra as it exists was actually a product of brainstorming between Mitesh and me, and we can lead you through that process. But I always knew I would do something B2C and something that was women-centric, because I mean that's something I get quite naturally,
right,
being a woman myself.
And then when did you have this idea? I think you also come with huge pedigree. Also, I think a very great experience in banking, like HSBC as well as Citibank and all that. So what made you just drop all that and getting into this very interesting space?
Yeah. So one thing that stood out in my entire 7 years of corporate banking experience, and I've done roles in product development,
right,
business development, sales, a lot of it. The one thing that stood out is what really makes you successful. And initially, in the first few years of corporate banking, there was a lot of focus on trying to push the product down the customer's throat, getting a customer to buy the product simply because you have the product, right? After a few years, I realized that what is helping all of us to be successful is really the consultative approach, where we're trying to help solve the customer problem. So throughout my corporate and personal life, I've realized that there is this tendency to keep asking questions, to question status quo, to really try and understand what is the problem that you're solving in the market, right? And I always had this inclination in the mom and baby space, not only because it's a $20 billion space in India, but being Gujarati by nature, I always thought that there should be a time when I need to do something of my own.
Right.
And given the fact that this is a huge market, and the problem that, my natural instinct to try and solve a problem, really to create an organization which is successful, is what helped us to actually embark on this journey.
Right.
And we'll talk about the problems which are there in this segment in detail going forward. But that was really the inspiration behind having to quit everything and start this entrepreneurship journey. Because we spoke to literally hundreds of moms, and we did a primary research. We asked them what their problems are. Do they really need this kind of service in the market? And I think with a few months of research here and there, it was good enough calling for me to quit my corporate banking career.
And that's what gave you the idea that I think it's time to get in. So what is the initial idea of structuring your business around it? So one is from mothers is fine, but then there can be a lot of things you write from prenatal to the post, the surge in terms of surgeries as well. So what is the idea that you have as well, you had initially for BabyChakra, the core idea?
Yeah. So, so the core idea of BabyChakra is to help solve a problem for parents, and help them facilitate the whole process of decision making. So to give an example, we happen to be in an age group where a lot of our friends are becoming parents, and when they start on this journey, the entire journey is fraught with questions, right? We see these questions coming up, constant sort of questions on online forums, being asked with friends and family, and more people are turning online to look answers for those questions, and less.
For example, what kind of questions do you see?
So if I'm an expecting dad, or if I'm an expecting parent, the first question that comes to my mind is
it the right time?
I've heard about this OBGYN, but is this really someone I should go for?
Right.
Or what are the steps I should keep in mind while even going to an hospital for delivery? What are the essential things that I should carry in my bag for a delivery in a hospital? And then the moment a child is born, you have questions around which is a good cord blood blank, who's a great child specialist, even when a child is only a few weeks old. So these were constant questions that we heard in the market from a lot of our friends, from a lot of research that we did in our network. And while people continue to ask these questions to friends and family, they don't solely rely on their opinions anymore. And there are a variety of reasons for that. They're turning online for more and more questions, but even in the online space, there is massive information asymmetry.
Exactly.
So how do you really help them take a decision without a lot of clutter, without a lot of information, and answering the question straight to the point? And what we realize is that because of this massive information asymmetry, and because of their reliance on word of mouth, the whole idea was really to take the word of mouth online, help them answer simple questions by curating these services in one place.
Right.
So that was the whole idea and inspiration behind actually starting off the journey, and it continues to be the core of what BabyChakra stands for today.
So, was there any time in the initial, maybe about 1 or 2 months? I mean, you have just launched the website. Must be the first, I think, signature card for your identity to the rest of the world. So, was there any moment in maybe during the first 1 or 2 months where you said, yes, I think what we've done is fantastic? So, what was the first signal that told you that vindicated your stand?
So, so I think what was really amazing for us was the day we actually moved our website from to the hosting server, so which is before any official launch or any announcement. We already had 90 signups. We had calls from services saying, did you launch BabyChakra? We were like, we sort of hosted it, but it's not sort of live yet. And they were already seeing transactions coming. That means parents have been tracking us very closely. And they, because we talked about BabyChakra to a couple of parents and they've been tracking us. And in fact, it was really encouraging to see that without any marketing, without any publicity, without even an official launch, people were already accessing the platform, and hence, indication of a really strong need.
So when that did happen, was it maybe if you have to look at the time frame, was it during the past 1 month itself, or even earlier?
It was before
This was actually the first day when we launched the website. So we were having a team lunch to celebrate the launch of our website, and by the time we stepped out of the restaurant, I get a call from the service provider saying, Mitesh, I told you to inform me when the website is launched. Right? So I said, we just launched it half an hour back, so how did you get to know about this? So there was actually a mother from South Bombay who had given her a call saying that I want to know more about your photography service for my baby. And that was really inspiring for us, and it just so happened that, and again, later during that day, a mom from South Mumbai, she used a chat option on the website, and she wrote to us saying that we really need something like this, and here are a list of services that I went to, and some of them are not there on the website. You should profile them as well.
Very good.
So I don't think we could have asked for anything better to validate the need and market on day one.
Can we say at one point, maybe now that we've made a very good, interesting journey, that the site, the services are almost like democratically designed from the point of view of the feedback that you receive from the customers?
Yes. So that's what we started off with actually. We did surveys of more than 400 mothers in Bombay to figure out who are the quality services in the city. Because the focus, and we kind of aligned on that very strongly. We said initially, if you want to sort of reach out to early adopters and build loyalty and build an interest in your product, you have to have a quality product in place. And for us, quality product means listing quality services.
I think one of the things that we're looking at is, I think at the moment, as I've seen the latest reports, on babychakra, you have almost have about 500 plus products and services kind of
Yes.
thing. So what was the the bouquet of product that you had in the beginning? So was the same, or have they started growing over a period of time?
I think
Yeah.
we've kind of kept it consistent.
So the core categories that we profile, which helps solve a need in the market, continues to be the same.
Right.
So if I take a step back, the inspiration behind the brand BabyChakra
Yeah,
is
right.
to cover the requirement of the parent in the entire life cycle,
Okay.
starting from -9 to up to the time when the child is 5 years of age, right?
Very
Which
good.
is why BabyChakra, where we are helping
Right.
you to address your requirement at every step.
Right.
So it starts from -9, so we have this category on maternity services, right? So it starts from OBGYNs, prenatal classes, good maternity hospitals, and then there are more and more niche services which are actually coming up in this space, and we have services reaching out to us saying that we are doing this, Pilates session for expecting mothers, so we
Right.
would like to be profiled on a website.
Right.
And then it goes on to the categories when the child is born. So, how do you select a good preschool? Which activity class is good for your children? So the core categories continue to be the same, and it's these niche services like a pediatric dentist or a special needs therapist, which we've also realized over time are people are looking for these kind of services, and services are also reaching out to us, and therefore it's very important for us to profile them and help parents discover that such services also exist in the market.
Very good.
There are a number of categories where there is a latent need in the market, and the objective is to also help them discover those services besides the usual pediatrician or OBGYN and such likes.
And to just add to Mitesh's point, the other thing we realized was that, because families are nuclear,
Right.
they're geographically, aspirationally mobile as well, and mothers are working, right? They can't go to office and ask parenting questions, right? And
Right.
some of the questions also considered as embarrassing, right? So for instance, things like if you're unable to breastfeed,
Right.
you don't even know, most mothers don't even know a service like a lactation consultant even exists who can help you and advise you and guide you in your journey of breastfeeding, right, effectively. So the pediatrician will tell her, just breastfeed,
Right.
but that guidance, that coaching
The
is something she doesn't
handholding,
know. And she can't go to an office environment and say, do you know what I can do to breastfeed my child effectively,
No,
right? So services like that are also sort of quite unique to a platform. We don't think these are the ones that will bring in money. They're not the ones we will probably monetize,
Right.
but these are the ones that will sort of add to the uniqueness of BabyChakra and show that we really care for our audience.
Right. So I think coming back to now, the other issue about, okay, now you have put a platform of services. Then let's look at in terms of maybe this how we describe the business model. Now let's look at the revenue model of it. So how do you make money there? How do you monetize all this? Because at the end of the day, I'm sure you have to have the scale so that you will have economies of scale as well as economies of scope in the years to come. So I think that definitely necessitates that you have to have some revenue and
Yeah,
keep taking
absolutely.
it. So how do you monetize this kind of services?
Sure.
So I'll let Mitesh answer the question, but Dr. Chaudhary, I think just sort of a fundamental, sort of guideline we are going by right now, given we are a very B2C platform,
Right.
is that yes, we are looking at the monetization model very, very, very keenly, but right now focus has been on traction, right? And sort of coming out with what is best for a consumer. So what is, as I say, do the non-scalable things in the beginning.
Right.
We're looking at that very clearly
Absolutely.
because we want to provide the quality experience for a consumer.
Mhm.
But that said, I mean, of course, the monetization model is.
So
we're
when you say
understanding that.
traction, do you have something in mind as to this in terms of maybe you must be having some yardsticks, maybe in
Yes.
terms of number of customers who have signed in, the people, the mothers who are coming in, or the maybe the doctors, the team of the entire team, what is it, the entire, or the plethora of doctors that you have, okay, so they have been signed up for your service. So are you looking at any kind of this yardsticks, which when you say traction?
So we have, Mitesh can talk about the number of services we've decided on, but in terms of the consumers we want on, we've set targets which we realize we are already exceeding. So by the end of this year, we'd actually plan to have about 20,000 parents online. But as of right now, we're already at 10,000
And the
unique
20,000
visitors.
parents will be in the -9 months.
To minus
Yes.
95.
Yes.
But in 3 months since launch, we're already at 10,000 unique visitors. So I don't think we need to wait till the end of the year to reach 20,000.
So how do you think those 10,000 have come? Is it because they're organic or is it inorganic?
So quite frankly, we have not spent a single penny on marketing so far.
Brilliant.
Because the focus has been on generating content both from the users and from our rich panel of experts, because these are people from the health and medical community. They are very well respected in Bombay, and the kind of articles that they've contributed have got us really good readership in the last 3 months. And we are seeing more and more people searching for specific things on Google and being redirected to BabyChakra, because we are actually helping answer the question that they already have. So our content is something which is helping us to acquire users for sure, and more and more the content that we have is helping users to not only answer the primary question that they may have as a parent, but again, coming back to a core model of helping them discover services, it's helping us to do that as well. So it's a combination of answering questions that they have on an ongoing basis, as well as helping them discover new services. So coming back to a revenue model, so what it's, and coming back to the traction that we've defined for ourselves. Now it's very difficult to put a quantitative number to it. It's very subjective because we have so many categories, and the root thing that we have in mind is that we should be able to help them discover solutions to their problems in a very simple manner. So if in a particular category we have the best of service providers already listed, and if somebody else wants to list on it, that is how we are measuring ourselves. So if there is somebody else, the 11th person or the 12th person who wants to get himself profiled, either you get his testimonials from X number of mothers, so that we know that we are really good, because that's how mothers actually base their decisions on, right? They like to read reviews. These are not decisions that they can take on whims and fancies, right? These are very important decisions that they need to take. So if I need to add the X+1 service provider in this space, we need to see what credentials they bring to the platform. And then there are other services in the activity space, in the retail space, where we are happy to help mothers look at shops which are very localized, and that's the area, that's the categories where we are open to generating business. So the models that we have in mind in these categories is we don't interfere with the process of decision making with the mothers. So we profile them in a different manner completely. And the manner could be by way of, it's more latent. So while somebody is actually searching for particular categories, we also help them look at an additional service provider, who might have come in paid. And it's only a matter of time that we will open the tap. But so far we've been very careful about the credibility and the trust factor, because people need to know that the services who are onboarded have come and recommended by other mothers.
Very good. So that's very interesting, the revenue model. Hope it really takes off. Now let's look at the, like people talk about what is the USP of this entire service kind of thing. Maybe, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think somewhere I happened to read that, which I thought is one of the uniqueness, is that maybe there can be many more that you can share, is that I think each parent, or maybe mom or a dad, the would-be parent or parent, they have a chance to review or maybe read other people's, so which therefore I think is very objective, and which is unbiased, and then they can share somebody's, I think that's the best thing that somebody can share and learn from experience. So that's, I thought, is one of the great things that I found, which is there in some of the most, I think I forget this website, which, the hotel review sites, Zomato kind of thing, which is kind of, so I think that's an interesting phase that I thought, as far as this is concerned. Maybe if you have something else, maybe if you can share with the audience.
I think you've actually hit the nail on the head. So that's exactly what we are finding also is our differentiator. So right now there are a few competitors in the market who basically list down services in your locality. Where we are really unique is in the social integration and creating the community, right? So right now our focus, and when you were asking the marketing question, I think it's very intrinsically linked, because that's also sort of helping spread the word, right? So we've actually had our early adopters come in, review services on our platform for us, but also through our content, we create almost like a follow function where you can see decisions other mothers have made, real mothers, not actress mothers or whatever, real mothers like you, like me, what decisions they've made and the reason they've made those decisions. And in fact, over the next couple of months, the focus on our site will be to actually go more social and to be even more of a community. And I think it's a very exciting phase we are at.
So I think one interesting, very intriguing for me is that what motivates mothers to come back to the website, take all the pains to sit down and jot down all this. So there must be something very intrinsically motivated. So what accounting? Maybe you would have talked to a lot of people.
We saw that right in the beginning, even before we launched BabyChakra. what we saw is that there is this, inherent nature in a mother to take somebody else through her journey, really with the intent of helping somebody else. And that was really the biggest motivating factor for them to, be very open to writing reviews, be very open to helping people out. So in the beginning, when we were doing a primary research and we wanted some quality services to be onboarded, we both reached out to our set of friends in a common group chat sort of a thing. And within half an hour, we had both moms and dads coming back and telling us that this massage therapist, my baby when she was born, she was underweight. In 2 months' time, she transformed everything. You have to profile her on our website, because she genuinely wanted other mothers to know about this. That this is. I spent so many hours trying to figure out who are the best people in the market who can do all these things, and I really don't want other people to go through the whole process. That's where it resonated with us that hey, there is a real need in the market, and what will keep the wheel moving is the fact that mothers are very open to helping other people out. In fact, they are even more vocal when it comes to online platforms, vis-a-vis having to speak in person to anybody. The reason why we are integrating a lot of social features on a platform is they really would like to know what is it that other mothers in the locality or even in the city are doing. So I may not know that person. The only thing which is binding us in common is the fact that she is also going through her own journey. Right? So if she has gone to this activity class and if she feels that they really help develop the learning process or expedite the learning curve in children, she likes to talk about this, and therefore one mother would like to follow another mother and discover services in the whole process.
Absolutely. So in this whole process, maybe at some point, maybe, I think for me it's very interesting to listen to all this. I would love to take it forward. Now, in this whole process, what do you celebrate? Do you celebrate the spirit of the selfless expression of mothers, or do you celebrate the very idea of starting a business in this space? Which one do you think you would like to celebrate now that you've made a very interesting journey? Because now, like you said, one of the, you find some very interesting all these people who are almost like selflessly sharing their experience, so that maybe that they expect other people don't have to go through that bad experience, or maybe if it's a good experience, they expect other mothers to go through the same good, pleasant experience. But from your point of view, I think this is one set of thing. Other thing is for you to celebrate is, you would have, like we were discussing some time back, you would have started this one with helping reaching out to these would-be parents or expecting parents. So which one would you like to celebrate?
So I actually think what we celebrate most is when we see ourselves creating value. Right? So, I mean, we've seen tangibly how we've created value for mothers, right? Number one, I mean, of course, self-expression, but also the fact that other mothers are benefiting. But even for services that we profile, you see, the parenting space is actually a very fast-moving target audience, right? I mean, from -9 to 5 is a period of 6 years, and they continuously move through that trajectory. And in fact, the need of an expecting mother is very different from when, even 9 months later when she has a baby, right? So for services to actually talk to them and connect to them, right now there isn't really a platform that does that. It's very disaggregated. So when we see services really benefiting and then coming back and saying, local services, right? Saying that, you brought me this much business. Thank you, BabyChakra. I think that itself is actually, is a great feeling, because you've created value, you've sort of bridged a gap, right? You've created connection where none existed.
New ecosystem has been created.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right?
With genuine ecosystem.
Absolutely. So I think the value creation is actually what continues to inspire us. More than just the fact that, I mean, frankly, entrepreneurship is not that glamorous. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's you're living on very uncertain timelines. You don't know what is going to happen. People, I mean, so people will join you. When you talked about the team earlier, people join you. If they don't, I mean, like, some people come for money, some people come to share the vision, right? And people weed themselves out. But then the point is that there's a lot of traction happening all the time. There's a lot of movement, so it's not very glamorous at all.
Absolutely.
But it's a value creation, I think, that really inspires us.
I think this is fantastic. Now,